Hey there friends, I'm leaving my house right now, going to meet somebody else. We have a hurricane on the way and we are trying to get this cross drain. I'm about to show you this cross drain. This cross drain is in really bad shape. It actually moves several hundred, probably close to a couple thousand maybe, acres of drainage down this way across 3 pipes that go across Country Club Road, which is right where we're at, and this is like right across the street from the country club. So the golf course is all dumping into this area too. So we're pulling this water, and you'll see from down this way, coming back down towards where these 3 cross drains go across the street. What's happened is silt has built up a good foot, close to 2 feet high. You have to have your ditch flood above the silt before it crosses over in the cross drain to get out of the neighborhood. So the whole neighborhood is going to back up while massive amounts of volumes of water wait its turn basically to get up and over the silt. So we're going to cut some little valleys into the silt so that the water can rush through. And my hope is, I'm no engineer, my hope is whatever we dig out, the rushing water that we have from the hurricane, it's about to drop a bunch of water on us, will actually erode more of that dirt that we don't get dug out, and actually via erosion we'll pull it out of there as well, like wash it out and get it back down, because it should be some pretty high amounts of water, 8 to 10 inches. Our local government is crap. Mayor sucks. This road also is a state road, so we've got city, state, and parish all intersecting at one point, and they all want to point to each other and say that's the one who hasn't done their job yet. So essentially it ends up being us that come out here and do it, which is fine because we know it's done right. And there have been houses that flooded for Delta, Laura, Delta, and the May 17th flood we had a couple years ago, flooded, and we found that there was actually a garbage can, a full city garbage can, inside one of these 3 laterals over here that I'm about to show you. Nobody did anything about it until we called them and said, you got a garbage can in here. So again, we're kind of taking this on ourselves to do it and do it right. What's funny is it would not shock me if the city, the parish, or the state, if they see us out here digging, moving silt that they won't move, they will likely ask us to stop. You can believe that. That's the irony of it. They would make us quit doing this because fear that we would screw it up. When they won't do it, they won't inspect these roads, they won't inspect these ditches or cross drains, and they bully everybody else to try to get them to shut up. Last time we did videos like this, and they were trying to bully people to get them to shut up. So interesting that we're having to do this again in front of another potential hurricane that may drop a lot of rain, but just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what we're going to do right now. So as you can see, this is a super busy road right here. Very, very busy. This is what we call Country Club Road. Country Club is on that side over there, all down this way. And this is a really deep ditch right here. Kind of hard to tell from the video. That's probably about 3.5, 4 feet drop down there as far as the depth of the ditch. So these cross drains right here, there's 3 of them. You can see how low the water is, where the water level is right there. All the rest of that, it's not just grass, it's also dirt. If you notice all of this down here, what you're looking at right there, that's all dirt as well. The water is supposed to go through that cross drain, through all 3 of these, and get through to the other side where there's a canal back there, right? Well, it can't do that because the water's supposed to be that tall right there, or that high. But if you look over here, it has to rise up this high in order to get over there. So that's about, that's probably a good 16 to 18 inches that the water has to be flooding over the normal height of the ditch in order to get up into there. And that's the good ditch. This one over here is much worse. You can see right here, that's your depth of the water right there. That water has to be 18 inches easily to get up this high. That you see right there, that's dirt. That's a little bit of grass mixed in there, but that's dirt and silt that has washed up here. These 3 cross drains bring a ton of water across the street. And as you can see, that's a gully, a ditch that goes across the street over there. So that's a lot of water that pushes out, and I'll show you on the map where it goes. But all this water comes from down there. And there's probably 1,800 to 2,000 acres of land that drain through this one ditch and then through these 3 cross drains to go north to get out of here. When it backs up, that 1,800 acres, which includes all this land and this neighborhood to your left over here, which is my neighborhood, they all flood. We're gonna make this right. Too many families panic this time of year whenever we get floods, hurricanes, anything like that, because the tax-paid people are not doing their jobs. Very aggravating, but these are our homes. And just like we don't rely on tax-paid employees to protect us, I also don't rely on them wholeheartedly to protect my home from flooding. So we'll take matters into our own hands. No way I should be able to stand on this. What we need is something cut through all of this, allow that water to get into those cross drains. Nowhere for that water to go. So I started to dig this to where the water could come through here. When I got to here, that cross drain's full all the way down at the same height that I'm digging. So the ditch regarding this cross drain will have to be a foot higher than normal before it can get over that silt and get out of this neighborhood. Let's try the next one. This one may be a little more promising if I can get to it. Yeah, that one's a little lower. So let's do this. That one can get through. We'll try to take this out. See, this is lower right here, not the same as this. So I'll try to take some of that out so the water can get through without having to be 18 inches higher. Two of these laterals that should work. I've essentially connected kind of via Panama Canal this ditch water, dug this little area right here to connect it to down there. This cross drain, as you can see, there's a ton of silt built up on the left side, but the right side is okay. So that water will be coming from that direction. It ought to be able to whip through here and make its way north through that lateral. This one too, because the right-hand side of that one was down good, but this one here is an absolute wreck. This one's kind of a lost cause. You see how high that silt is right there. So what I did right there is not going to do much. I'm going to wait for my neighbors, some fine people coming down here to give me a hand, and we'll clean a little bit more of that out. Very interesting. And again, a shout out to Kurt and his friends who were on the way to give me a hand. But and when you got that much rain coming, these local people don't care. Whenever houses flood, they go do photo ops for the next big rain, like they're doing something, but it loses their interest, gets out of sight, and they stop caring until the next house floods. Then they start caring all over again. Time for a beer. So Kurt came out and we got those lines kind of cleaned up to where everything goes in there. As you saw, the lateral on the far left, the one more westward, is only going to be adequate and move any real water once the water gets 16 to 18 inches higher than the bottom of the ditch or the normal water level in the ditch. However, the other two laterals, the middle one already was cleaned out enough to where water could get through, and we took care of that east side one so water now can go through. So we essentially doubled the amount of water that the ditches were already capable of taking on, at least up until ditches got 1.5 feet too deep, and then the water would crest over that silt and move through there. So we feel like we got that accomplished. The biggest point and the biggest takeaway that I want to make sure you guys understand, just like your own self-protection, government, whether it's local or federal, they're not really there to help you. They say they are, but what they're really good at is spending your money. That's what they get paid to do, right? They don't get paid to take care of you. They get paid to take money in. They get really mad when you don't pay it to them. And then they get paid to spend it. If they don't spend all of it, they lose it. So their goal is to always pilfer through all that money and spend as much as they can. This kind of operation that we just took care of right here is a perfect example as to no real decent maintenance is taken care of until somebody complains. Now, we'll complain about this. Some of them will get butthurt when they see this video, and they'll scamper and they'll start taking pictures. The next time we have a big flood, they'll get out there right before that. So standing on the most popular corner out there, we saw the city do this during one of the floods a couple of years ago after they got a bunch of heat from all the flooding. They'll get out there and act like they're cleaning the ditches out. You can drive down this road right down here, whether it's state, parish, or city, and you're gonna see all kinds of obstructions. That's going to hurt the drainage. We're not gonna get proper drainage, but they'll move whenever you complain about it. But this ditch right here that I'm looking at with all this silt in here, nobody's been inspecting that. Nobody's been taking care of that. They will when we complain now, and they will when they see this video with an attitude and butthurt about it. And again, I'm surprised nobody came and told us we were breaking the law by shoveling that silt. They might still send me a ticket. Oh no! Point is, these people don't really care about you. They care about their job, and they care about the funding that they get. You are your own first responder. You are. And that also goes for any type of work like this. The sad thing is, if we got a lot of rain and homes flooded, state, local, all the local people in charge of managing this type of drainage would either blame each other or they'd say, this was a 100-year flood. It's always a 100-year flood. It's always, we'll never see this again in our lifetime. It's always what it is. However, you see what we saw. This ain't the only place in Lake Charles, Louisiana that has stoppage like that. This ain't the only place that has silt build up 1.5 to 2 foot higher, or likely more in many cases. But they don't tell you that because obviously it outs them whenever they do that. There are hundreds, possibly thousands of other areas in town like this that would make your own neighborhood, no matter how big or small it is, prone to flooding. But because you don't know that those stoppages are there, you're going to assume we had a 100-year flood when they tell you that. That's their out. That's their way of always dodging responsibility and not having to assume that responsibility because they claim it's the next big giant flood that we'll never see another one like this in our lifetime. They lie to you about stuff like that because it covers up their own inadequacies. These people are not really good managers, right? Again, where's the next Elon Musk? Not in local government. The geniuses and the cream of the crop, they ain't in local government. I can promise you that, especially from an elected standpoint.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's over.